Hi folks, well I'm here in Inverness, back up here in Inverness, and it is now September the, is it 1st or 2nd, or I've lost,
Fourth? Third.
the 3rd. Oh, there you go, it's the 3rd. And I'm back up here with Paul, and up at Paul and Hannah's, so coming up here for a wee visit. And Paul has told me something really interesting, and it's going back to the video we made back in August, where we went up Ben Mcdhui, and obviously, if you look at that video, I'll put the link in the description. You can look back on it, and you'll see that something had happened that night. Paul's tent burst, or it ripped open, didn't it, basically? And he had to come into my tent, which is just a wee one-man tent, and we were sort of like sleeping head to tail type
Top and tail.
top of tail, yeah, top
Yeah.
of tail. And that was it. I just never thought any more of it. But we're up here, and Paul has just told me something really interesting. So I'm gonna hand you over to Paul, and he can explain in his own words.
Elaborate on the details.
Elaborate in the details. Explain in his own words what actually happened and his experience based on the video I had made. And this is pretty astounding stuff. I've only just found out myself, so here we go. Over to you, Paul.
I think we base camp up about 9 o'clock-ish, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just here.
Yeah, get that
People
light
can
right.
see me.
Oh.
And it's fallen. There we go. That'll do us.
Yeah.
So we base camp about 9 o'clock-ish, right before sundown. And we're so exhausted, we don't eat any food. We just get the tents up and we go to sleep. So you're in your one-man tent, I'm in my two-man, a cheap tent we'll say, but still a good tent.
Yeah.
So around 11:30ish,
Yeah.
I start hearing noises at the tent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I start hearing noises outside the tent.
Yeah.
And I think nothing of it. And then the mesh part of my tent has a wee plastic lid over the top of it. That actually lifts off for some reason. I don't know if someone took it off or the wind caught it. The actual parting of my tent then splits open and water starts flooding into my tent. And I'm so tired at this point, I don't bother getting up. And I actually have to go into Sean's tent to actually get away from the rain, because at this point it's midnight, water's pouring into my tent, and there's no way back out of Ben Mcdhui at this point. But I didn't think anything of it, and then I start walking the next day back up home, and I start hearing footsteps behind me. I hear a constant crunch, so I keep turning behind me to let the person behind me pass, but there's no one there. So a combination of a weird tent experience of feeling that someone's around me opening my tent and literally having the water pour in, as well as someone following me back from Ben Mcdhui back to the car park, was a very surreal experience, you could say.
Yeah. So just going back, Paul. So at the top of your tent, you've got a little sheet, or some kind
Yeah,
of
so you got a mesh part and then you got a wee sheet on top of that.
on top of that.
Yeah.
And there was no wind that night.
No.
There was absolutely no wind, and I recall it because it was quite a warm night. It was just pure. It was just the rain came down, didn't it? Right, Paul. Can you explain what's happened?
So my tent's completely wrecked.
That's it. So yeah, basically Paul's tent was burst. He's absolutely soaked, and he's having to come in here.
Yeah.
But you were saying that basically this thing just blew. It just shot off your tent.
Yeah,
you know?
it almost it floated off, then just disappeared. I never found it again. It wasn't like it was outside
Yeah.
the tent or anything. And it was one of those moments where it looks like it's happening in slow motion. It's probably something that happened within 2 minutes, but it felt like an eternity, because you're sitting there and this part flies off, and then you're sitting there and the tent just rips open.
Yeah.
When you're that tired, you've just done a...
No, but you were saying that you put because the water started coming in a wee bit in drips, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then you put your finger up just to touch it.
I almost touched my tent at the same time.
Yeah.
You
And
almost
that-
at a moment, you're so tired, you touch it and then this rips open.
And it just ripped open.
Yeah, it's as if someone slashed it.
Wow.
It's just weird.
Wow. And folks, this is honestly, this is absolutely Paul's experience. This is what actually happened, and we're not making this up.
I mean, I wouldn't voluntarily go in a one-man tent with you.
No,
I've
no,
been
no,
Mcdhui
no,
for no reason.
No.
It just shows.
But you know, the interesting thing is, as you were walking up towards the waterfall back,
Yes.
you literally did hear strange. And this is about, because I remember you left about 6 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
and you literally could hear these footsteps.
I mean, no one's around me. I think there's people going up the hill, which is weird. Even if it's an echo, you would still see someone coming.
Yeah.
But this is clearly, and it's methodical. It's every so many steps I make, I'm
Yeah.
hearing this crunch, crunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
As if, and it's just bizarre. It's an experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not as if it's my own steps, because you would hear that constantly. Once
Yeah.
I got down a certain point, low enough that it stopped, you couldn't hear it again.
Yeah.
But it's almost from
So how long does it go on for, roughly?
when we started camping down the bottom of the hill,
Yeah.
all the way up at certain points,
Up to the waterfall.
from the waterfall all the way up to the top of the Cairngorms bit.
All right,
Going back down again.
the kind of plateau bit
Yes, as you pass
above
it,
the
you get
waterfall.
the monument up there,
Yeah.
and as you walk back down, you're about halfway down,
Yeah.
you can still hear it, and then it just stops all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't hear it anymore, so...
Wow. Did you feel scared?
I was
Or
so
did-
tired that it wasn't
Yeah.
sinking in.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got home and had a good night's sleep and woke up the next day and going,
Yeah.
something weird happened that night.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
very disturbing happened, that your body's just in too much shock and so exhausted from
Yeah.
what you did the previous day.
Yeah.
It doesn't sink in. The next day you're sitting there, wow, what did I go through? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting.
And you know, because the thing is, like I'll be honest, I'm a big skeptic, right? I found the story really, really interesting, but it was like I just thought, you know, I mean, it's an interesting story, but when you hear like that, you know, I find it quite
It's
fascinating.
similar to tales. So
Yeah.
I did research afterwards,
Yeah.
looking at people's cases, and they have very similar stories. And
Yeah.
it could just be that part of the world you are hearing a very bizarre echo.
Yeah.
But it's just, if, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't,
Odd.
words can't explain it. Words
Yeah.
can't explain it.
That was it, folks. You know, so you know, if you ever want to go visit Ben Mcdhui, just go up there and see if you experience something like that
See it
yourself.
for
You
yourself.
know, but I know that when I was up there, I didn't experience anything really. The only thing I did hear was that night when I was in the tent. It's around about 12 o'clock, and that was about an hour before you came through. I did hear footsteps going across the shingle, but I thought it was maybe there was a group of campers next to us. And then I thought perhaps it might have been yourself, maybe just going to the toilet at the time. But I thought a bit odd because it was pouring with rain. So
I mean, where we camp, there
Yeah.
was going to be no one. It's very difficult because, best case scenario, if my tent rips open, I would just go home. But it's that much of a mission to get to, because you have to go up a waterfall. Going down it was difficult.
yeah,
Bit of light on me. Going down this
Yeah.
thing was difficult. Going up it pitch black at night, you're not going to get a chance.
yeah,
And you would see, even to just get to our tent, you need some sort of flashlight. The moonlight wouldn't carry enough.
no,
You would need something so you could see clearly. So either someone was already there, or something was already there,
yeah,
or it, for all I know, it was just the wind catching the tent and blowing it open.
yeah.
And it could just be that weird coincidence, but either way,
Yeah.
I love to tell the tale.
It's hard to say, you know, but
Yeah.
it
Words
just
can't explain it.
it felt kind of strange, you know.
Yeah.
That kind, yeah.
You get that
that
eerie vibe that
yeah,
something's happening and you're just along for the ride.
yeah. And I know that you were very tired that night as well, weren't you?
Yeah, and I don't know if exhaustion played into it,
Yeah.
but even after a good night's rest, you sit there and you remember it as clear as day.
Yeah,
That's weird.
yeah.
You know.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Well-
That's my tale.
Thank you very much, Paul. Okay.
problem.
Yeah, I thought we shared this with everybody. So there
Yeah.
you go.
Good fun.
Okay.